What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Post Cologne show presented by Underdog Fantasy as part of the Dust 2 US TV show. We've been doing it every day. Today is day 3. Wow. So we just watched a game. A lot of
We
thoughts.
did.
A lot of thoughts on that game. I have my heart is like beating very fast. I was very excited. I had a lot of great tweets already planned in my head. Didn't go how I wanted to go. Lucas, how do you feel coming out of that?
Tired. Um, like you said, emotionally like pulled around. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like a lot to be excited about, but at the end of it, I just feel like a little bit more of the same.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a brutal game overall. I've like I you we see the first one go on to Dust 2, and we were in the watch party, and I was going ahead and I was like, okay, Dust 2, Aimer map,
Yep.
can be a kind of a toss up. This might be beneficial for Liquid here. Like Yekinder doesn't really necessarily have to worry about so much strats. He can just
Right.
kind of play off and have fun. And he did. And he looked amazing. And we were like, oh my God, this is the second coming of Jesus fucking Christ. We have the best player ever in the entire world. We're gonna win the major. And it was great. And we get to overpass, and I'm like, 2-0, easy peasy, and it was just anything but. It was anything but. That overpass game. What did you see from them that worries you a lot?
I mean, a lot on the T side. It was really unfortunate, and like from what I was watching, like a lot of things on the micro level were going wrong, and I noticed that like on Dust 2 as well. Like there were rounds. There was a round where like Nitro gets a double kill, I believe through double door. They go to take a long, and it's like Elise throws a flash in front of him instead of like behind him, and it's just like some of that micro stuff that kind of got to the best of him, kind of caught up to him once like the Yekindar like buff wore out, I guess. I don't know. I'm not saying like the rest of the team didn't hold their own. Like on Dust 2, the whole team played well, but of course Yekindar was the top fragger, and then once you get to Overpass, it kind of, I mean, 0 and 11, 0 and 12, I believe is what he started out as. So
Yeah.
once that impact went away, it was kind of like more of the same Liquid, I guess, even with Daps behind him. I'm sure strategically, tactically, like if you go in and do a deeper dive, obviously the game just ended. So it's very fresh in my memory, but I'm sure tactically there was a lot there to be like happy about. But yeah, execution wise, there's a lot still to be done, but it's the first match.
Yeah, it's not necessarily as bad as we would probably think of it. It hurts
No.
a lot because they had all the advantages. They had the map lead in the
Yeah.
beginning. I thought Yekinder, listen, overall for Yekinder to kind of slide in here, I think is tough.
Yeah.
They did have the boot camp. They have been doing that. His whole situation is a situation that we don't necessarily have to get into.
Yep.
I think there's a lot to be promised about on Dust 2. The things that
Yeah.
we understand was that in the pregame interview is that uh, Elige has moved around a lot of his spots
Hmm.
for Yekindar. So we know then that Elige is now going to suffer a little bit based
Yep.
on that. So how much is it more beneficial with Yekindar? Like, is Yekindar going to be so much of an improvement that it negates the drawbacks from now putting Elige into a unbalanced position, right? That is kind of crucially what we're looking at here. I think that it wasn't enough overall over the course of the
Right.
3 maps. I think you definitely sometimes needed a leash to be in his comfortable positions. That is something that is just going to come over with time and match
Yep.
play. Um, and I don't know. I think just the ending towards on Ancient, good on them to get the 5T side rounds. Good on them to come all the way back. Awful way that they choked the 15 lead and forced
Right.
to overtime, and then they get the overtime lead and they can't put anything together. And Yakindar making the most North American play when he could have won it all. Like it's just a match that what like if things could go wrong, they went.
Absolutely. And I think that is like especially that round where Yekindar is like in on an island at the time when there's a defusal happening. I think that's just working out kinks, figuring it out. Of course, he is a stand-in right now, as it stands. So it's like, um, I don't usually for teams you give them that time to kind of figure it out, but we don't have a lot of time to figure it out because we're as of right now we're not getting it long term. So I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to assess. I guess looking forward to tomorrow. Um, I guess we hope that we get another draw like Dust 2, and then hopefully another map where they can just kind of um, stick to their mechanical prowess and their individual play and kind of turn their brains off and just play Counter Strike. I don't know. I liked OC today. I really did, even though like he wasn't like super great on all three maps. He came up clutching a lot of times. Elige was a no show on Overpass, but that's just going to come with the kinks. He came alive on Ancient, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm worried that we're going to run into this problem where it's like maybe they exit the event with some positives, but then again, it doesn't matter because we're not keeping them long term, and then we're back into the cycle. Like that's what I'm worried about. Short term, the Ancient loss does suck, but as just the core four, I'd still like to see more because as of right now, it was largely YEKINDAR that got them there through this three maps.
Yeah. I mean, Yekinder
So
really, really led that way in the beginning of Dust 2.
and
And I
OC,
think I think without Yekindar, this could have been a 2-0 for
oh yeah,
Spirit. Um, and then unfortunately, you kind of have to look at it and be like, what he giveth, he taketh away, right? He
correct.
took that ancient map, just that last round. I keep going back. I was
Yeah.
screaming my head off in it, like, what are you doing? Where are you? But how are we supposed to look at it and go, okay, yeah, of course that he's just going to stick to the fuse and we're going to lose that.
Right, of course.
I think overall, this is tough. But to your point, you make a very smart point here. There could be a lot of things gained from this with Yekinder being part of the team and everyone making adjustments. But what happens if he doesn't become part of this team?
Right.
As we know, as we've written, it is very hard. The United States cannot do any dealings with the Russian, like with Russian entities that have had sanctions on them. So how is this going to happen? And I think the bigger question is Liquid potentially losing out on further progression by having someone in that they can't have permanent?
Yeah, that's a good point. Now theoretically, this could all align, like with Daps coming in. Maybe he, even before Yekindar came in, maybe he wanted to play with Elige in different roles. We've known Elige to be like the front runner as far as like statistics and stuff, but again, unless like things worked out perfectly when they had Simple or when they had Stewie, like Liquid hasn't really taken off. So like as Elige as a primary statistical like fragging leader, like Liquid hasn't found a lot of highlights. So maybe we run into maybe like that is experimenting with the idea of like having somebody else take those places. Like maybe Yekindar leaves and then they look for somebody who can be efficient in that manner as well. And they're trying to get Elige comfortable in another predicament because, with him as like that go-to leader, he hasn't really been able to do it for Liquid, I guess we can say.
Yeah, I think it's obviously some stuff's going on. I think
Yep.
Daps is the addition. I think we saw some other stuff from there. It looked like a team that was having a lot more fun, I think, on Dust
Yes.
2. It looked like a team that was playing with a lot more confidence. Usually we see teams that try, and I think Liquid even has said this before, they play like they're trying to not lose. This
Right.
team didn't look like that, honestly. Like the loss wasn't great, but it didn't look like a team that had lost hope and was just like, we don't want to lose. We don't want to get embarrassed. This is not it. It looked like they actually came to play. And that I thought was a very, very big positive coming out of this.
Oh yeah.
With that being said, you can come as much as you want to try and play. You got to actually be able to really play and secure everything in. Ancient to mentally come back, huge, huge positive there. And so I'm just kind of really proud that we were proud of them that they were able to make it as far as they did, even though it ended poorly.
Yeah, I mean, there's still positives to gain, like we mentioned, OC. As all of us, I think, do every time OC's in the server, we're all looking for those shining moments that got him to this point. And I
Yeah.
do think even in a losing manner, we did see a lot of those. I don't have like clutch statistics right off the top of my head, but I know he pulled out quite a few, not just with the op, but like he had one with the Tech 9. I believe he had one with like an AK, like on map 2 or something. Might be grasping at straws on that one, but OC again is starting to. It feels like every month as it goes through, he just gets better and better and better, and that's something that we worried about with Grim on Liquid. But he's kind of getting through these growing pains, especially like with the op. That's something that's always troubling for young talent. But yeah, I think and Nitro played well. At least he didn't go like I believe the previous iteration he was averaging like a 0.86 rating. And I mean, obviously
Yeah.
they had their bad overpass map, but Nitro also had his moments, which that's something we want to see because again, that Valorant shadow still kind of precedes him. So
I think overall Nitro really had a very, very strong series. I thought the calls were good in a bunch of different situations. He ended up positive as well, which was huge. And so did OC. So Nitro and OC definitely far and away leading what this Liquid team has.
Yeah.
I think we just also have to say, like, Patsy on Spirit.
Yeah.
Listen, I really don't want to be mean. I hate that guy so much right now. Like, I don't actually hate him. I just, like, hate him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he was so good today as an entry. He was dominant everywhere. He would be able to get one kill and he would die, but he'd get the info and he'd be able to move on. Like, that guy was the reason that Liquid lost today. He won that game for Spirit. By far and away the best player on the server. And so I have to give my hats off to him. All right, we could talk about that Liquid game all day. We should talk about the underdog bets that we had. Lucas, you put out this article late last night. We had 3 players on our Underdog Fantasy Bets review. So we were looking at Nico to get over 42.5 frags versus Movistar Riders. I didn't think this was a bad idea, but it was shocking to see what happened. Like, I'm just shocked. He completely didn't miss the mark. G2 was handily beaten by Movistar Riders. I think he missed it off by 4 or 5, which honestly, in terms of these lines, is pretty significant for him to miss that line like that. So,
it was worse than that.
Oh, it was?
Yeah,
it was. How bad? It was 10. It was. Oof.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's.
I put a lot of stock in their IEM Dallas matchup. Those two, and the one thing that I did not put any consideration into, which totally bit me on the ass, was the Movistar 6-game win streak buff. And I was like, you know what? G2's got this, but no. You can't fight that momentum. You can't fight that Spanish surge that came through. They rolled G2. It wasn't even close, man.
It was a nuts game. I was unfortunately just catching the end of it as I was waking up this morning, and hey, we had our only NA game later on. So I got a little break. Yeah, I got to go rewatch it. I've heard he was really good. Torzy was our one win today. Under 36.5 against Navi. That seemed pretty easy. Navi was a tough game overall. That did go 3 maps though, but Torzy just seemed to underperform. Lucas, could you tell what was his final kill total and what did we end up with there?
Yeah, so he ended up with 45, and the bet was 30. Or no, excuse me. I'm looking at the wrong one. So that's through 2 maps or 3 maps. So he ended up with 17 in the first map, and then 16 in the second. So he ended up with 33. So he was just shy, 3.5. So not actually just shy. That's a pretty wide margin.
Yeah.
And that's with the second map going to 30 rounds. So and I don't quite know how it would have panned out if overtime would have came through. Luckily, the triple kill from Bemis in round 30 prevented Navi from going into overtime, so I didn't have to find out. But yeah, I knew Torzy was going to struggle. That's his first time ever playing Navi, and it was on LAN. And we're in the middle of this Navi revenge tour after FaZe win the major, the Boom Bitch drama. Simple as something to prove here.
Yeah.
So I just knew there was too many forces going against Torzy. It worked out.
And then YEKINDAR, I think, is the baddest beat that we have had this entire time that we've been doing this. The guy drops 26 on Dust 2. 26 on Dust 2. So you have it, and you look at him and you go, okay, you just need to get 12 kills. 12 kills is all you need on Overpass, which is your map pick. You should be able to do it. Ends with 8. Doesn't get a single kill for the first half. He gets his first kill is the last round of the first half. Just, I don't know. Baddest beat of all time.
It doubly hurt because he ended up with 6 assists in that map too. So it's you can't even just throw me. You can't throw me 4 of those, man. You can't.
Oh my God.
So
awful.
Yeah, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, man. The other week we were one Xantares headshot away from going perfect.
I know, it was so close.
Hey, Underdog knows how to get these lines right.
They're pretty good. I've talked a bunch with them. They have a lot of the detailed stats and stuff like that. So if you guys want to make sure that you can do any of your bets on Underdog Fantasy, check out underdogfantasy.com. Make sure to use code DUST2 when you deposit. You can receive up to $100 on your first deposit using that code. Make sure that you always gamble responsibly. Underdog Fantasy is licensed in 33 United States. It is not available to international customers. Okay, good sponsor shout out there. I love the little integration I've been able to pull. I've got one here that keeps getting up. I'm trying to fix it. Tomorrow. Let's look
Dang.
at tomorrow. Yeah, your hair, your mustache, you're banging, bro. You're doing great over
Oh,
there.
yeah.
I need to get your stylist. Let's look at the
Okay.
matches tomorrow. We have 0-0 Nation
Yes.
facing off against FaZe Clan, and we have Furia facing off against Astralis. Those are going to be two incredibly tough matchups. I think that FaZe has every advantage in the world coming off of this major
Yes.
win. They have everything else. The 0-0 Nation, that's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I want to root for the Brazilians, I just don't see them going through. Do you have, like, I see it as like a 2-0. Like, what about you?
Yeah, we would have to see a drastic overperformance for that to happen. Like
Yeah.
drastic. Actually, it would have to be both an overperformance and then an under. Like they would have to meet in the middle. They would both have to equally just play outside of the realm. One really well, one really poorly.
It's got to be like Cold Zero's game of his life, and it's going to be against his former team. Like, all of this is really going to have to come together for him. That game's going to be in the Eastern, so I will be up bright and early to watch this. It'll be brutal. And then we've got Furia, Astralis. Both teams not in the best of places, honestly.
Ooh.
Furia has really been on a slide, which has been really, really concerning. But now they're going to be on land. Might be a little bit more of a better environment. Might be time that they wake up. And Astralis at the same time has stumbled a bit here and there. Lucas, what do we think? What are we taking away?
I'm looking at these numbers and, just purely off of what I see, just off of eye test and everything, I do think it's going to be a battle of two poor teams as far as current form. So it's going to, I guess, be a matter of like who is going to like drag the dead horse over the finish line like quicker or more efficiently. And honestly, when I look at like these two teams, I look to Astralis just because like this Blame F buff has just been like, it's just.
Well, you are Blame F's biggest fan in North America. Let's be honest, okay?
Right. Yeah.
So
a little bit of bias
might be a little bit of favoritism there.
A little bit of bias. And then, of course, we did get to see some good performances out of Zipnix over this previous series, which was nice. Right after we got that interview. So, Zipnix isn't always going to pop off as far as like numerics is concerned, but what he's not doing is he's not being a complete like robot. He's like actually getting kind of back to speed. Coincidentally, right when Valde is available. But there's some nice things to see out of Astralis. I would argue more nice things than Furia right now. And then of course, just off of like the going off the Movie Star writers' logic, like Movie Star was coming off of 6 wins. Astralis is coming off a solid win against Big, so I think that's probably enough of freshness to keep them loose against Furia. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how that one goes. We have a match. So depending on how the matchups go, say that 0-0 Nation loses against FaZe Clan, then they will actually be going to play against Team Liquid on Saturday, again at like 6:30 in the morning. And then if Furia lose, they will be playing Outsiders in the lower bracket. But if Furia win, they'll be headed on to play Cloud9. And obviously the opposite's true for the opposite's team there. Okay, so that's gonna be that. We're doing a little bit of a shorter episode, I think, on this one. We banged through the big hits. I have to run. Literally, I gotta get in a car and I gotta go drive to go do some things.
Yeah, this guy's important.
I am important, business meetings, all that. No, I'm kidding. But we only saw one match today, so tomorrow we should have a better show. We'll be able to talk about the 2 Brazilian things. We'll be able to get more in depth there. We can talk about more of the interviews, as we'll have an interview coming out later tonight that Liam is doing with Team Liquid. I think he's getting a leash. We'll see how that one goes.
See how he's feeling.
Yeah, so it's a tough one there. But with that, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's been watching the stream. Please check out dust2.us for all the other fun articles. And with that, we will see you tomorrow.
Peace.